you were online this weekend, there's a good chance you saw this. It's a sign posted in the window of Rocco's Pizzeria in Tucson, Arizona, proclaiming the restaurant reserves the right to refuse service to Arizona legislators. It was a response to a bill that the pizzeria's owner called appalling. Arizona's SB 1062, which would give businesses greater rights to refuse to serve gay people on the basis of religion. The sign was part of a major backlash against the bill, which is only growing and is widely seen as blatantly anti-gay, and which prompted protests at the Arizona Capitol after it passed through the legislature last week. It's not just one restaurant owner and some liberal activists who are outraged about this. In fact, the state is right now in open revolt. Businesses have assailed the law, including Marriott and Apple, which are among more than 80 companies that have urged the governor to veto it. Also calling for a veto are both of Arizona's Republican senators, John McCain and Jeff Flake. In fact, 3 of the Republican lawmakers who voted for the bill last week today sent a letter to the governor urging her to veto it because the perception of the bill as anti-gay is causing our state immeasurable harm. One of those lawmakers will be joining me here in a moment. There was also this. Matthew Dowd, former top strategist for President George W. Bush, compared backers of the bill to Islamic terrorists who use religion to defend murder. Now, the clock is ticking. A decision on whether to sign or veto the bill is due this week, and it all comes down to one person.
All right.
So it's far from...
You know, the bill is in transmittal, and I don't have to make a decision until next Friday, so I've got plenty of time.
That's right. Arizona Republican Governor Jan Brewer, shown here, giving President Obama a piece of her mind on the airport tarmac back in 2012. You probably remember Brewer for signing the last massively controversial bill to come out of Arizona, SB 1070, the draconian anti-illegal immigration law that earned the ire of the president back in 2010. Now, Brewer has vetoed this kind of anti-gay legislation in the past, and to her great credit, she fought hard to win Medicaid expansion in her state last year over Republican opposition. We will find out this week if she is going to do the right thing this time around. Arizona State Senate President Steve Pearce, who's one of the legislators who voted the bill and is now asking the governor to veto it, joins me now. And Senator, the first question is, why did you vote for this thing?
As I've said a number of times today, it was a mistake and a miscalculation. We had no idea there would be the fallout that like there has been because, frankly, we voted on the same bill a year ago and sent it up to the governor, and she vetoed it. So the sponsor of the bill brought it back again this year. And it's just unbelievable what's happened, and it's not good for the state.
Well, let me ask you this, though. I want to separate out the publicity backlash and the merits of the bill. Do you still think the merits of the bill are a good idea? Is it good policy to expand out the kind of conscience clause to allow for this kind of discrimination in kind of the commercial sphere?
When I voted on it, I did not look towards any kind of discrimination at all. I didn't see that in there. As the days went on after we voted, it was from constituents and the public and the outcry from it. And, you know, I've been listening to things all day that about the discrimination, and there is none in my view. And I don't, if there is, I'm totally against it. But as it is, I have come to the conclusion with 2 others that we wrote a letter to the governor telling her we thought she should veto the bill.
So what did you think the bill would allow?
You know, we were told that it would be codifying existing laws that we have in the books right now. And to codify, well, then why do we need it? And, you know, we were not sold on the bill in the very start. Back 3 weeks ago, I went to different groups trying to get some support and say, I'm concerned about this. What do you want to do? Nobody really would say anything until we finally voted for it. And then all hell broke loose, and it's terrible, and you can see what's been going on.
So I want to talk about what you think the governor is going to do, but just one more question on this line of inquiry here. Who is pushing for it? And if you were a little confused about what it would do or wouldn't do, who thinks it will do something, and what do they think it will do?
The people that were behind it, there's one called the Center for Arizona Policy, and it was promoting it, and they're the ones behind it, and they brought it forward. I believe it was going to be slowed down. It wasn't going to come to the floor as soon as it did, but for some reason, it jumped the track, and came to committee of the whole last Wednesday, and then right directly after that went to third read and we voted on it. And I can tell you that there's a number of us that we were texting each other madly. Do we go with it? Do we not? And so we made a mistake, and that's about all I can tell you. Is we went the wrong way.
I have to say, I admire you saying that. It's extremely rare in politics that elected leaders utter those words, even though they make mistakes all the time. What do you anticipate the governor will do faced with this decision?
Well, she's got lots of support to veto it. There's, as you said in your a few minutes ago, there's a lot of support. There's companies. There's a lot of things going on, and I don't know what she's going to do. I hope she'll consider all that and veto the bill. She vetoed it last year, and it'd be fine if she vetoed it this year. It is not what I think the media is portraying it. It's not as bad as that. I don't believe. If there's any kind of discrimination in it, like I said, I'd be totally against it. And that wasn't the concern to us.
But the concern, with respect here, Senator, I mean, this grew out of a case in New Mexico in which a wedding photographer refused to photograph the wedding of a lesbian couple. She was found to be in violation of that state's constitution. There have been a raft of laws that are proposed by conservatives across the country to essentially override that kind of decision, which would mean essentially allowing people who provide services in the marketplace to not give them to gay and lesbian people. I mean, that is the genesis of this whole thing.
Well, you're right. From New Mexico, it was, but it didn't. When I was thinking about it, it wasn't towards gays and lesbians. But nevertheless, I'm opposed to it. I made a mistake. It's up to the governor. She's a strong leader. She'll be back here and she'll take charge of the issue when she can get back, and she'll do the right thing. I'm certain. I'm not saying whether it's vetoing or signing. I hope that she vetoes it.
Arizona State Senate President Steve Pearce, thanks so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
You bet. Thank you.
Up next, how what's happening in Arizona is part of a bigger plan for culture warriors across the country. Stay tuned.